I think the main example is the development of the Copaxone, which is the drug for multiple sclerosis, MS disease, that helps millions of people around the world every day. So that, I think, is one of the most well-known achievements of the Weizmann Institute. There are many others. So I think two main dreams, and I think they are interconnected very well. One of them is really to understand what is the language of the brain, how does neurons, nerve cells in the brain process information and result in human behavior. And the other big challenge for me, I think, is to be able to use this, once we understand it, to use this in order to help different psychiatric disorders, and mainly post-trauma, anxiety, depression, autism, etc. I definitely know about the use of FDMA in recent use of MDMA, in different, mainly in depression, but also in PTSD, and I think it is successful. But like many other things, it's not going to be the solution for all the patients in depression and PTSD. So it can definitely help, and I think people should consult their doctors and try it if it's recommended for them. But it's not yet specific enough, and I don't think it will really solve the depression and PTSD for all patients. So we still need to do much more basic science and research to find a more specific solution for these problems. Definitely, we in the neurobiology department and in general the neuroscience field these days communicates a lot and learns a lot from cognitive psychology, from different rules and characteristics of how we learn and create memories. And so cognitive psychology is almost a part of neuroscience these days, and there are a lot of communications. About psychoanalysis, I think we are still, there's very, very few real scientific investigation into the effects of psychoanalysis, but I think definitely in the near future there's going to be more and more collaborations between the two. It's still not, psychoanalysis is not, it's hard for a scientist to do controlled studies with psychoanalysis, and that, I think, might be the main problem in understanding what happens in the brain during psychoanalysis. But hopefully with new techniques and new things, we might be able to actually look inside the brain during or after psychoanalysis and see what kind of changes and plasticity and dynamics of brain activity occur during psychoanalysis sessions. I don't think what Freud called the subconscious is really in one region of the brain. That's not, it's actually all around the brain in network activity, and I think it's hard to really investigate subconscious because I'm not sure there's a very good definition to do a study about subconscious in the brain. But what I can tell you is that we know that there's much more information. For example, the brain holds information that we are not aware of. So, for example, my brain, if I look into what I can look in the activity of neurons, there's more information there than I'm actually aware of. So sometimes our brain is smarter than us, and that you might want to call it, I don't want to subconscious, it's not the subconscious that Freud was related to, but it's something that we're not aware of, and still there's information that we are not aware of in the activity of neurons. I wish I had more time to do philosophy. I did only my undergraduate studies in philosophy. I think it was very interesting and helped me a lot in looking at different questions in different angles. I wish I had more time to do philosophy. I'm really interested in it, obviously, but I don't have time to do it on a daily basis these days. Well, I think Spinoza is a philosopher that I think most scientists would really relate to a lot, because the God of Spinoza is, is basically all of nature, and that's something that, at least as a scientist, it makes sense. So I'll be honest, I'm an atheist. I don't believe there's any real God out there, but there's definitely something very complex and amazing in the nature around us. So in this sense, if somebody wants to call all of nature God, like Spinoza did, I think that's something that I could definitely agree with. So I'm happy to say that in Israel we have a complete scientific freedom and academic freedom these days, and I am pretty sure, and I hope it's going to stay this way. So there are obviously a lot of religious people, but also a lot of atheists, and I know many amazing scientists that are religious and many amazing scientists that are not, and luckily until now in Israel everything was purely scientific and under academic freedom, and especially at the Weizmann Institute, and I'm sure it's going to stay like this. That's in science for sure. We have many. So we have one professor of physics who is an excellent scientist, and from Mexico, and we have several students from Mexico that came to do the PhD in the Weizmann Institute. They are amazing students.
Okay. Yeah, are you trying to get more?
Oh yeah, definitely. We always try to get as many excellent students as we can, and if there are excellent students here in Mexico, and I know there are many, then it will be great if they apply to Weizmann and come to do a PhD or a postdoc or anything at Weizmann. We are always looking for excellent students, and I know there are many here. So a good student has to be. First, maybe I'll say that Weizmann Institute doesn't have humanities. It only have science faculties. So there are 5 faculties. There is physics, mathematics, and computer science, biology, chemistry, and also science education. And we are looking for students in all these areas, and they can come from almost any discipline of science, but they have to be. We conduct interviews. That's important for us even more than just the grades. And there we try to ask the students and see how creative they are, how they handle problems, new problems, what is their vision. And we are just looking for students who know how to approach problems in a new creative way, and that have basic curiosity about basic science and understanding how the world, how the brain, how the body works. So curiosity and be creative. That's the kind of student we are looking for. I really enjoy my visit here in Mexico. I find both, we visited today a very excellent scientific institute, and it was really amazing. And also meeting the people here in the community is really exciting. They are very warm and very intelligent, and they're interested in what we do, and I think that it's really been a great visit here.